The Queensland election result on a knife edge. Tonight, the leaders' final pitches and a major campaign backdown.
The Climate King's impassioned plea to 50 world leaders in Samoa.
The bombshell decision that could see the parent-killing Menendez brothers released from jail.
New southeast flood mapping affecting thousands of homes.
A slithery discovery inside a schoolgirl's lunchbox.
Official winners of the supermarket Christmas ham battle.
Plus your guide to the best democracy sausages near you.
This is 9 News Queensland with Andrew Lofthouse and Melissa Downs.
Good evening. The result of the Queensland election is tonight on a knife edge. New polling revealing the race between Stephen Miles and David Crisafulli is tightening just 24 hours until polls close.
Both leaders making their final pitches across key electorates today to score votes, but the opposition leader is now moving the goalposts on a major campaign promise.
Amid a sea of red on the Sunshine Coast at the 20th walk for Daniel Morcombe, the man who hopes to turn the tide on a decade of Labor government in Queensland.
Good to meet you.
Heralding the beginning of a blue era.
Queenslanders deserve that fresh start for a magnificent state.
The latest news poll figures published in The Australian today peg David Crisafulli as the state's next premier, but indicate the opposition leaders squandered the lead that months ago would have locked in a landslide victory, and tomorrow's outcome now rests on a knife's edge.
We are trying to climb a massive mountain here. We need more than a dozen seats. It's only been done a handful of times.
The party tipped to fall over the line with 52.5% of the two-party preferred vote, earning 13 seats. Should it fail to do so, David Crisafulli's ruling out doing any deals to form a minority government.
I can't be more categoric. The answer is no.
The polls also suggesting the more Queenslanders see of him, the less they like him, slipping behind as preferred premier. David Crisafulli hammered the regions in the early stages of his campaign, but the final days have been spent mingling with southeast voters as Stephen Miles steadily claws back support here. The race tightening and the political games growing more comical.
You haven't really ruled out a vote of conscience on the matter?
Absolutely, there will be no changes.
This staffer for Labor's Pumicestone MP Ali King quickly caught out by LNP advisers posing as an ordinary voter on Bribie Island.
You're a Labor staffer.
Will there be a vote of conscience on the matter?
So you're a Labor staffer?
Oh, you're a Labor staffer.
Can you say, will there be a vote of conscience?
My apologies.
Before swiftly exiting in a car sporting party branding.
That'll do me. Yeah, that'll do me.
But the opposition leader is attempting a retreat of his own after promising to resign during Nine's great debate if he can't reduce crime victim numbers.
Queensland has the highest number of victims in the country. 289,657. And you can't cherry pick little bits of figures. It's victim numbers that matter. It's the number of victims. And I'm not giving myself any wriggle room. It's victim numbers. It's not number of unique offences and what happens on a Wednesday and how many young people repeat. It's victim numbers. If there aren't fewer victims, you won't be seeing me.
Tim, so you'll stand down?
Yes.
Today, he tried to give himself wriggle room, saying there could be more victims if the population grows.
To a household budget.
Specify that earlier.
Majura, I'm not sure anyone would suggest that as population increases, that figures shouldn't be commensurate with that.
So he's chosen a different statistic, and now he's given himself 3 body lengths of wriggle room.
Abby Gearin, 9 News.
Well, Stephen Miles wanted to hit 36 electorates in 36 hours, and he did it in style.
In his last attempt to reach Queensland voters, the Premier has been on the Gold Coast in a frenzied final day of the campaign.
He's come a long way in 4 weeks, from the shoeless shopper in Mackay to the roaring daredevil on the Broadwater.
Is it your first time on a jet ski?
Not my first time, no, and I do have a licence.
After a week spent mostly in the regions, the Premier's last jam-packed day was on the Gold Coast, catching the light rail, checking out supercars at the Gold Coast 500.
There we go.
Tasting Yatla pies. And bringing reinforcements for his housing minister in Gavin.
Got this right.
A final campaign announcement of $480,000 to support housing services in Nerang.
I'm very confident Megan will win. For years now, Gold Coasters have looked at Megan's performance up against the plotters that the LNP keep putting forward, all those old blokes.
This has been about preventing the loss of seats in the north and the south to prove he's a leader for both the cities and the regions. Even losing as few as 5 seats would spell disaster for Labor.
Well, I've been campaigning in Labor-held seats and LNP-held seats and Green-held seats.
The party has been in power for almost 10 years. Stephen Miles at the helm for almost 10 months.
Well, I very much intend to be successful tomorrow, Josh.
In the end, Stephen Miles wants voters to set aside mistakes of Labor's past, trust him with the plans for the future, and not give the opposition or any minor party a look in.
Whenever I stop being Queensland's Premier, I hope that Queenslanders look at my time and see that I didn't waste a minute and that I did my very best to leave the state a better place.
Josh Babbers, 9 News.
Well, let's bring in both leaders now.
Stephen Miles and David Crisafulli joining us live to give their final pitch to voters. First, let's go to Stephen Miles. Premier, why should Queenslanders back Labor for a 4th term?
Well, if you haven't made up your mind yet who you're going to vote for tomorrow, my message is for you. Some people say there isn't a difference between the political parties, but there is a big difference. Labor will always stand for health, education and frontline health workers. We will always stand for a woman's right to choose. If you want to be Premier of our state, then you should earn people's trust. And David Crisafulli can't answer simple questions. He's been vague about some of his plans. He's completely hidden others. Yesterday we learned that their budget would cut 17,000 public servants. Many of us remember what happened under Campbell Newman, and we can't go back to that. If you elect me as your Premier, I will keep delivering cost of living relief, keep building more houses, expanding our healthcare and working to keep our community safe. I will do what matters for Queensland. For you and your family, elect me tomorrow.
All right, let's bring in the opposition leader, David Crisafulli now. David Crisafulli, same question. Why should Queenslanders vote for you?
Well, ask yourself, after 10 years of Labor, are things better or worse when it comes to youth crime, health, housing and cost of living? And I know Queenslanders are doing it tough, and that's why we've put forward comprehensive plans to deal with it. And if government changes, if people elect an LNP government, adult crime, adult time and gold standard early intervention will be law by Christmas. You'll have health services when you need them. We'll have respect for your money. Now, all we've seen from the Labor Party is a scare campaign, and you just heard more of that. And I want to offer Queenslanders hope. I want to offer hope over fear. And the choice at this election is between a majority LNP government that's put forward those plans for those big 4 issues, or a Labor government, 14 years in office, propped up by the minor parties. And Queensland just can't afford that. And I'm urging Queenslanders, if you want change, you've got to vote for it. If you want a fresh start, you've got to vote one LNP.
Thank you for your time, and Premier Stephen Miles, thank you for your time as well. Well, State Political Editor Tim Avia joins us in the studio now. Tim, it's been a long 4 years. The results will be in tomorrow. What are Queenslanders going to get?
Well, Andrew, Melissa, I've spent the day talking to heavyweights in Labor and the LNP. I can tell you both sides will be very surprised if the LNP doesn't win tomorrow. And while there will be seats where the results surprise, Labor figures are now thinking about life in opposition. Ultimately, even though Stephen Miles has convincingly won the campaign, it doesn't appear his good 4 weeks can overcome a horror 4 years for the government. And if you need a further sign, the LNP is very confident. Today, David Crisafulli is adding caveats to his key crime victim promise. Today's walkback suggests his focus is now turning to governing, 18 days after he made that promise, when then his sole focus was winning. All of it, though, Andrew, Melissa, is now up to Queenslanders.
All right, thanks, Tim. And we'll have your comprehensive election coverage on 9 tomorrow, kicking off at 5 p.m, bringing you real-time updates alongside our expert panel of political heavyweights. We'll be with you throughout the night until we have a result.
To the day's other news now, and a baby boy is among 5 people injured in an explosive collision on the Bruce Highway yesterday afternoon. It's understood a Suzuki Swift crashed into a truck travelling in the opposite direction at Aldershot north of Maryborough. The impact causing the truck to burst into flames. All 4 people inside the car were taken to hospital, with a 28-year-old man suffering life-threatening injuries. The truck driver was treated for minor injuries.
Australia is moving to enter a new energy agreement with the UK as Commonwealth leaders meet in Samoa to address global challenges. King Charles declaring climate change, a global conflict and misinformation on social media as the 3 major threats facing life and peace across the world.
From the countries of the Commonwealth, colour and culture. And from the King, a call to action.
Lives, livelihoods and human rights are at risk.
Leaders from more than 50 countries warned climate change is an existential threat that could cause conflict.
If we do not, then inequalities across the Commonwealth and beyond will only be exacerbated, with the potential to fuel division and conflict.
His Majesty on the island encouraging nations to restore and protect their natural environment.
Even I may choose. There's not many more.
Early this morning, as wild winds lashed Samoa, inside, a warm welcome from its Prime Minister Fiame.
Thank you for making the time to come.
Climate action, the top issue, and Anthony Albanese entered a new energy partnership with the UK.
Good to see you.
Driving the development of green hydrogen and offshore wind.
We both are on the path to net zero, and there's a real opportunity for us to develop technologies together.
As the relevance of the monarchy is questioned across the Commonwealth, the King today is seeking to prove he is in touch with the troubles facing modern families, asking leaders to address concerns over social media and misinformation online.
Ensuring that the untold potential of technology, including artificial intelligence and social media, works for our societies, not against them.
King Charles is very conscious about the modern world and prepared to engage in debate.
The Queen has spent her days championing the plight of women in the Pacific alongside Foreign Minister Penny Wong.
There is no peace and stability and prosperity without women taking their full place in a society.
Now, as talks conclude, Samoa has been a proud host. Villages decked out in flags of each Commonwealth country, including a little reminder of home for their majesties. Liz Daniels, 9 News.
A 24-year-old man has been charged following a suspicious house fire in Logan early yesterday morning. Emergency crews were called to the Crestmead home around 1:30 after reports of a large fire. A person was seen on camera walking towards the home before flames took hold, then fleeing. Thankfully, no one was injured in the blaze, but the home was severely damaged. The man has been charged with 4 offences, including arson.
Hundreds of Queensland police workers have joined a class action seeking damages from the QPS over the COVID-19 vaccine. It follows a Supreme Court ruling in February that police workers were unlawfully directed to receive vaccines. Some officers say they shouldn't have been forced to choose between getting the jab and keeping their jobs.
What do you estimate you've lost as a result of this?
It's going to be significant once you take into account lost salary, leave, super, emotional and other damage like personal damages, probably up around the $500,000 mark.
What we're saying is that the coercive mandates that were put in place by the Commissioner of Police, which created terrible duress and influence on the police officers and staff members.
The lawsuit is backed by mining magnate Clive Palmer.
A case that captured global attention 35 years ago is now back in the headlines. The Menendez brothers murdered their parents at their Beverly Hills home in 1989 and were sentenced to life in prison without parole. Today, they've been recommended for resentencing, with the possibility of walking free by the end of the year.
With the eyes of the world watching, the family of Eric and Lyle Menendez gathered to find out their prayers had finally been answered.
I came to a place where I believe that under the law, resentencing is appropriate.
The brothers were under 26 years of age at the time of their crime, so under Californian law, they will be immediately eligible for parole. The case has seen renewed interest after it was chronicled in the Netflix series Monsters.
Eric and I killed our parents together.
Eric and Lyle have long alleged that their father abused them and claimed they feared for their lives when they murdered Kitty and Jose Menendez. In recent weeks, new evidence has come to light, with a former member of the boy band Menudo claiming Jose sexually assaulted him at the age of 14, and a letter from Eric to his cousin detailing the abuse before the murders took place.
I do believe that the brothers were subjected to a tremendous amount of dysfunction in the home and molestation.
Together we can make sure that Eric and Lyle receive the justice they deserve and finally come home.
Their freedom is not guaranteed, but seems likely. Eric and Lyle's journey is one of redemption and rehabilitation. They both have exemplary behavioural records, completed college degrees while incarcerated, and acted as caregivers to elderly inmates.
This has been a legal drama which rivals any Hollywood production. Ultimately, it will be up to a judge to decide their fate, but today's decision could pave the way for the men to walk free.
The District Attorney's Office told 9 News they will begin filing their paperwork with the courts tomorrow. In Los Angeles, Alison Petrowski, 9 News.
Ramping up its attacks on Syria and Iraq, Turkey reports it's killed 59 Kurdish militants in its latest series of strikes. This bombardment comes after a deadly terror attack in Sydney's capital, Ankara, that Turkey is blaming on the Kurdistan Workers' Party.
A major milestone tonight, with work underway to develop an early screening program to detect deadly melanoma. The federal government announcing $10 million in funding for the world-first program that would focus on those most susceptible to the disease.
Hair colour, people with lots of moles on their body, people with a family history.
Despite improving treatments, someone in Australia dies from melanoma every 6 hours.
McDonald's accused of negligence after a recent E. coli outbreak at the stores in the US.
Qantas bosses vow the airline has turned a corner, but past ghosts still haunt it.
We're live to the red carpet for the Brisbane International Film Festival.
And at the end of sport, we put supermarket Christmas hams to the test to find the best value for money.
Bruce Springsteen has thrown his support behind Kamala Harris, her rock icon, turning her Georgia campaign stop into a concert. He's the latest celebrity to back her as she continues to roll out big names in a bid to drive her campaign home.
As America's first black president, he was a trailblazer. As the country's first female VP, she's already broken a glass ceiling and she wants to shatter the big one.
And make no mistake, we will win.
Tonight, Barack Obama and Kamala Harris campaigning together for the first time.
We do not need 4 years of a wannabe king, a wannabe dictator. Georgia, we're ready for a president, Kamala Harris.
The Democrats going all in to roll out the big names, and it doesn't come much bigger than the boss.
She's running to be the 47th president of the United States. Donald Trump is running to be an American tyrant.
Turning this into a campaign concert for more than 20,000 people.
Even if we're just dancing in the garden.
The Harris campaign on a star-studded swing stage showdown. Tonight there's Bruce Springsteen. Tomorrow there'll be Beyonce. On this home stretch to November 5th, these campaign events becoming an increasing spectacle.
On the other side of the country and on the other side of politics, Donald Trump was in the Sunbelt campaigning and complaining about his opponent.
She's a low IQ individual, I'm telling you. I'm good at this stuff. November 5th, 2024 will be called Liberation Day in America.
But tonight in the Peach State, it was the boss, the old boss, and the one gunning to be the new boss, all together on the trail. In Clarkston, Georgia, Lauren Tomasi, 9 News.
They knew the burgers were to blame, but now US officials have figured out which ingredient is behind a recent E. coli outbreak at McDonald's: the onions. The bacterial infection has caused 1 death and made 49 others fall ill. A Colorado man has now sued McDonald's after he contracted E. coli, accusing the fast food chain of negligence.
Qantas engineers walked off the job across Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne today in their demands for a pay rise. It came as the airline's new leadership team met to discuss a difficult year. Its bosses vowing the carrier has turned a corner after the illegal sacking of ground staff during COVID, ghost flights and huge salary perks for outgoing executives was revealed. The airline further announcing millions of extra frequent flyer reward seats on domestic routes in an effort to win back its customers.
Snag yourself an election day treat, the handy tool that will show you what's on offer at polling booths in your suburb, plus the new menu item that's sure to be a hit. That story a little later in the bulletin. Live to the red carpet. Next, don't miss our chat with rock star Bob Geldof at the Brisbane International Film Festival.
Hundreds hit the pavement, marking a special milestone for the Day for Daniel.
Forget lolly snakes. We chat to the primary school student who discovered the real thing inside her lunchbox.
And the Halloween horror stories to avoid this year.
9 News, brought to you by Hyundai. Have you tried it? Now you can.
The Brisbane International Film Festival is in full swing with the horror movie The Red premiering tonight. A cast of local and international stars are right now lining the red carpet at the Powerhouse. Let's go straight to Michelle Tapper, who's there. And Michelle, you are joined by a very special guest.
Good evening, Melissa. I certainly am. I'm joined by Sir Bob Geldof, the lead singer of Boomtown Rats and also the organiser of Live Aid. But you might not know, but Sir Bob is actually an actor and he is here.
I will be.
You will be. Yes, OK, you're making your acting debut.
No, completely. No, obviously I've been in 3 mega hit movies before, but never, ever in a zombie hit movie.
I know, a zombie movie. It's very exciting. But we're here tonight for the premiere of the horror flick called The Red, also a zombie movie. It's about a kangaroo called Rippy who terrorises an outback town. But Sir Bob's actually filming another zombie movie called Zombie Plane. Tell me a little bit about it.
I can't. I'd like to say it's secret, simply I don't know. I just show up tomorrow and I'm sort of heroic in it, which obviously I have to be. And I'm not a zombie, but I'm sort of a little scandalised that these people have ruined my childhood with Rippy the zombie kangaroo.
I know, he's pretty scary, isn't he? Yeah. And where are you filming around Queensland?
Down the Gold Coast, so we'd be there for 3 days and then, I move on.
And are you seeing any sights of the state while you're here?
Yeah, we were up in Mullaney yesterday and this morning, and I've been around Queensland a few times. We did the famous BNS ball out in Gundawindi back in the day, played Brisbane about 3 or 4 times. I think I'm still an ambassador to the city of Brisbane.
Well, we love having you here, and if you need any extras this weekend, Sir Bob, I'm around.
What, zombie-wise?
I could be a zombie,
really?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I can come and terrorise you. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the premiere tonight. Red premieres tonight. It'll be in cinemas as of Friday, and the Brisbane International Film Festival continues right through until Sunday. Andrew?
Nice work. Thank you. Well, kids often wonder what mum has packed for lunch, hoping for a surprise. But this 7-year-old got more than she bargained for, finding a highly venomous snake had slithered into her lunchbox. The Sydney schoolgirl was packing up her bag for the day when she peered inside. At first thinking the red-bellied black snake may have been a toy. A snake catcher was quickly called in, with the handler revealing the reptile was simply searching for a hiding spot.
Today marks 20 years of Day for Daniel, with millions choosing to wear red in honour of the Queensland teen who never made it home. Daniel Morecambe's parents, Bruce and Denise, vowing to continue their efforts to keep kids safe as the threat of technology continues to grow.
Breaking down barriers to keep kids safe. Bruce and Denise Morecambe leading an army of red for the 20th Walk for Daniel on the Sunshine Coast this morning.
Our first Walk for Daniel, we had 90 people, and this year we're expecting to have around 1,500 or so.
Completing the trip home, the 13-year-old was unable to when he was abducted while waiting for a bus in 2003. Last seen wearing a red T-shirt in what's now become a symbol of child safety across the country.
2 million people around the country we expect will be participating in some way in Day for Daniel.
Daniel's 93-year-old grandfather even making a special trip from Melbourne for the milestone moment.
Time's marched on, but the foundation, Daniel's legacy, continues to grow.
The Daniel Morecambe Foundation today launching a free digital children's book featuring personal safety messages. And while there's no telling what the next 20 years will bring, the Morecambes aren't slowing down.
Especially with like sextortion and AI is a big thing that's happening now. We just have to keep up to date because the predators out there are always a few steps ahead of us.
Hataya Grubsky, 9 News.
New flood maps revealed affecting thousands of southeast homes.
The best suburban polling booths to get a democracy sausage.
Important safety warnings to prevent Halloween from becoming a real nightmare.
And meet the Queensland Kelpie that's now top dog.
The share market is in a holding pattern ahead of key inflation data set to come out next week. Here's finance editor Chris Kohler.
It was a steady day to finish the trading week, but there were some big winners and losers. WiseTech lost 20% in 5 days as CEO and founder Richard White was accused of bullying and intimidation, along with some other scandals. He resigned yesterday, and today the share price took off, soaring nearly 13%. And Qantas shares rose 1.5% as the AGM took place in Hobart. On the other end of the scale, Australia's biggest gold miner, Newmont, crumbled 13%. It announced a big profit, but investors are worried about costs. And the Aussie dollar finishes the week lower than where it started. It's buying 66.2 US cents, 61.2 euro cents and 51 British pence. All eyes next week will be on the crucial inflation figures released on Wednesday.
Now look at the fuel prices. The average for unleaded in Brisbane is $1.76, I beg your pardon. Diesel at $1.81, and the average for unleaded on the Gold Coast is $1.70. RACQ says unleaded fuel prices are hiking. Fill up now at stations charging $1.70 or less.
New flood maps will soon be released, affecting thousands of Brisbane homes. Ebony Cavallaro explains.
We've become all too familiar with the devastating impacts flooding can have in southeast Queensland. But soon, new flood maps will help make it easier for homeowners to prepare. More than 8,000 properties in the Kedron Brook, Brighton Creek, Toowong Creek, Sandy Creek and Witten Creek catchments will be affected. Some will have an increased risk of being impacted by creek flooding. For others, the risk has decreased since the last mapping was released.
It depends on the individual property, and that's why it's important that we undertake these flood studies, give people an understanding through our flood awareness maps their potential risk.
Affected residents will be contacted by Brisbane City Council by early December. The new maps will be available for viewing on the city plan from December 6th, which will also help guide where new developments should and shouldn't be built. Council says periodic updates to flood maps are needed because of changes in catchment conditions and updates to flood modelling methods. It's important to remember every severe weather event is different, which is why all residents, no matter where they live, should have a flood plan.
We're being warned to keep an eye out for potential dangers ahead of Halloween, with hundreds of costumes and decorations pulled from shelves over safety fears. Light-up headbands, pumpkin lights, fake blood and nails are among some of the items on the watch list, with button batteries the main concern. Experts are also urging trick-or-treaters to stay safe around roads and driveways.
Queensland Kelpie Bear has been crowned Australia's hardest working dog, taking out the 2024 Cobber Challenge Masters with his owner Tom Perkins. The Dirranbandi duo winning the top spot after blitzing the field by covering 570 kilometres in the space of 2 weeks. The pooch celebrating with a well-deserved drink out of his victory cup.
The Queenslander who's made a big play in the battle to be Australia's next opener, the driver who had all 4 wheels off the ground on the Gold Coast.
At the end of sport, the Christmas ham battle has begun. We have the best supermarket options for family budgets.
And a beautiful day today here at the GC 500 to kickstart the big race weekend. But how is it shaping up both Saturday and Sunday? Will we see any rain? I'll have all the details of full weather and beach and surf report for you coming up soon.
Good evening. Mitch Moses faces a true litmus test of his burgeoning halves partnership with Tom Dearden in the Kangaroos clash with the Kiwis this weekend. The playmaker concedes right now he's just an understudy for Nathan Cleary.
Wetting a line on what was meant to be a day off, Hudson Young found himself fending off challenges from a couple of Christchurch kids. Mitch Moses welcomed his second daughter Blair into the world last week, leaving Kangaroos camp to be bedside as his wife Bree gave birth.
I made this birth, so it was a bit different. It was pretty well known that I missed the first one.
2024 has been a bizarre year for the father of two.
If I told you 12 months ago that you'd only play 8 NRL games, but you finished the year as the Blues series winning halfback and the Australian number 7, what would you have said to me?
I think you're off your head, really. Wouldn't think I'd be in this position, really. And yeah, even just to put the green and gold on. I'm 30 years old at the moment, so I thought these jerseys were gone and, yeah, just had to hang in there.
The Kangaroos' new halfback conceding he's just keeping the national number 7 jersey warm for Nathan Cleary.
It's pretty much his jersey, to be honest, and I've said that I've been very open with saying that about the Origin jersey as well. It's his. I'd love to play with him, to be honest, one day. That'd be pretty special.
In Christchurch, Zach Bailey, 9 News.
Josh Addo-Carr's days as a Bulldog look to be nearing an end, with the club taking steps to terminate his contract. The Fox is paying the price for a failed roadside drug test, ordered to front the board next Thursday to explain why he shouldn't be sacked. Queenslander turned Redbacks captain Nathan McSweeney has carried his Shield form into the One Day Cup, further pushing his case for an international call-up, belting 137 of South Australia's 218 at Allan Borderfield. Jimmy Pearson led a successful run chase. His unbeaten century included 10 fours and 3 sixes. But it was another Test hopeful who iced the result. Matt Renshaw's final slog gave Queensland an early mark, the Bulls home by 9 wickets. And a collapse for the ages in Perth. WA losing their last 8 wickets for just 1 run against Tasmania. Needless to say, they lost. Heat captain Jess Jonassen has revealed her heartbreak at being snubbed for Australia's recent T20 World Cup campaign. The decorated leg spinner hailing Brisbane teammates for helping her overcome the bitter disappointment.
My first T20 World Cup in my career that I wasn't a part of, and there were a lot of emotions to sort of navigate through during that time, but I was just thankful that I had my home back here.
And Jonassen will spearhead Brisbane's quest to claim WBBL 10, which begins on Sunday with the grand final rematch against the Strikers. The Supercars have made a blistering start at the Gold Coast 500, nudging the lap record in practice. Olympic gold medalist Ariane Titmus experiencing high-octane action up close.
She's used to life in the fast lane, but not like this. Olympic champion Ariane Titmus joining Jamie Whincup for a hot lap around the Surfers Paradise circuit. It all went swimmingly, unlike what transpired in the V8 Super Ute series. The Concrete Canyon claimed more casualties in the Carrera Cup. Richie Stanaway lost his bearing in the pits.
Oh, nice one.
Will Brown pushed the limits in practice, unfazed about protecting his lead in the championship standings.
I think you can see from the sides I'm not worried about the championship. I'm trying to win a surfboard this weekend. That's what I want.
Rough going even on a day of perfect weather on the Gold Coast. Cam Waters the quickest in the opening practice session. In P2, Andre Heingartner had his ups and downs.
Oh, and goodbye left-hand mirror.
Bathurst champion Brodie Kostecki, the early pace setter, before being overtaken by Thomas Randall, who posted the fastest ever lap time by a Gen 3 car on the Gold Coast.
Spending a lot of time in the simulator, doing laps around here, trying to find the right way to tackle the track, and hopefully it's paying off.
They're back on track tomorrow for race 1. Adam Jackson, 9 News.
Contract negotiations with the Storm appeared to be the last thing on Ryan Pappenhausen's mind today. The Melbourne fullback on the putting green, joining a host of celebrities at the Mick Fanning Charity Golf Day. Mick started the event at Coolangatta Tweed, raising money for the 2020 flood victims. The concept so well received, it spawned this event in Victoria, helping the Reach Foundation and Cure EB. And on golf, before I go, a quick plug for Maverick Ancliffe. The Queenslander is leading the international series over in Thailand.
Thanks.
Doing well.
Good to hear. Well, we're still 2 months away from Christmas, but the festive season is already setting in for our major supermarkets. Woolworths and Coles today releasing their Christmas ham range, promising feasts without breaking the budget.
It's the tantaliser of taste buds so many love. Whether smoked, salted or even with a hint of sweetness, it's just not Christmas without ham.
Always a showstopper. I think it's the exciting thing about Christmas for you. When the hams start coming out, it starts to feel like Christmas.
The festive favourite now in stock at major supermarkets, 2 months out from Christmas celebrations.
This is certainly an early entry to the Christmas campaign rush. For most consumers, we look at it and think it's getting too early.
We think we'll sell about 3 million kilos of ham this Christmas.
Food is spoilt for choice. Coles and Woolworths battling for best value, both pricing half-leg hams at $8 per kilo, the same as last year. The options not ending there. Woolworths offering their double-smoked half-leg for $12 per kilo, $17 for triple-smoked. Coles slightly less at $15.50 per kilo. And for the time poor, Woolies now offering glaze and bake options priced at $27.50.
And you can glaze with so many different things. I've glazed one today with maple and mustard and some marmalade and some rosemary. My new favourite's a fish sauce caramel with lots of chilli.
Aldi will be late to the party, offering its ham range from next month. And the wait could be worth it. The discount supermarket vowing it will not be beaten on price.
We now move into what will be 30 to 40% of overall trade for Australian retailers into this November, December, January period.
The silly season well and truly upon us. Hayley Francis, 9 News.
In just 3 minutes, have a vote and snag a treat. We reveal the best election day polling booths for democracy sausages and more. Plus, the locations with easy seniors access. That story is just moments away. First, though, Luke's back with a quick check on the weather. Luke, do we have any rain around this weekend?
We do, Melissa, yes. Just some light showers. I'll let you know where we can expect them. The full forecast coming up next.
While traditional democracy sausages will always be front and centre tomorrow when you head to the polls, Bruce Page has discovered there's a whole new menu to get you in the mood to vote.
The pilgrimage to a polling booth wouldn't be the same without a little something on the side. At Junction Park State School in Annerley, the P&C is going all out, offering up a clever menu of baked puns.
Bob Catter's hat.
Bob Catter's hats, you got it. David Crisper-Fullies, chocolate crackles, and Premier Smiles.
Even an affordable housing biscuit.
Very nice. A house for $2.
We've got lots of ice biscuits, whole cakes, things that you can have for kids' school lunches through the weeks.
Of course, tomorrow, democracy sausages with all the trimmings will be the traditional fare.
This weekend, we'll have over 30 parents helping us do the barbecue.
It's not just about the democracy sausage, much of a delicacy as it is. This year there's a new candidate, the bacon and egg burger. I'll take one. Thank you. Oh, yummy. The Virginia State School's polling booth, just one serving them up.
Bacon and egg burgers go very well in the morning.
We find, many stalls will offer it early in the morning because maybe we don't all feel like a hot dog at 9 a.m.
Whatever your preference, the Democracy Sausage website will have you covered.
It started in 2011 as a bit of a laugh, and it has got a little bit out of control since then. We, for federal elections, will often see over 1 million visitors to our website.
A handy map showing what's on offer at booths in your suburb, even vegetarian options. You can also find where there's wheelchair access if you can't do stairs.
We do have easy access for seniors. There's no stairs into the polling place or to our barbecue.
All up, a great way to help schools and other groups do important fundraising. But don't leave your run too late.
We'll be serving up bacon and egg rolls from about 8 o'clock. First 50 in for a bacon and egg roll, and then spinning snags from there on.
Early bird gets the worm, Bruce.
Bruce Page, 9 News.
That is a good way to start the day.
Yes, it is.
Well, time now for your full weather forecast with Luke Bradnam. Luke, are we going to be voting in the rain tomorrow?
No, Lofty, we've cracked it for a good weekend, actually. Along the coastal fringe, we're very slight chance of some light showers, but barely enough to even whack the old windscreen wipers on. Nice looking Sunday on the way as well. Let's have a look at the temperatures today from around the southeast. We're in for a cooler day tomorrow than what we're seeing at the moment. 30 degrees we got to today in the city, 31 in the western suburbs. Was slightly cooler down here along the coastal fringe, 26 at the top here on the Gold Coast. But up to 30 degrees today for the Sunshine Coast. It is cooling off this evening with these southeasterly winds that kicked in this afternoon. Tomorrow's weather map is a good one for the majority of our state. It's really just the southeast corner, a chance of seeing those light showers that I spoke about earlier. And if you're heading into state this weekend, a mostly sunny day on the way for Sydney and Canberra. Sunny for Melbourne, cloudy for Hobart, partly cloudy for Adelaide and Perth, and just a possible shower in the top end for Darwin. Back home, mostly sunny along the North Queensland coastline from the Cairns through to Mackay, with those temps in the low 30s. Very hot in the west though, both the Isa and Longreach up into the high 30s tomorrow. And not a bad day through the Capricornia and Fraser coasts either. Just a slight chance of a shower along the coastal fringe, those temps up in the high 20s. And then here in the southeast, a medium chance of showers, just 1 to 2 millimetres as I mentioned, but those winds won't be as strong as they were today, up to nearly 60 kilometres an hour this afternoon here on the Gold Coast. Will be a cooler day, 25 the top for the Sunshine Coast, 27 for Ipswich here on the Gold Coast, topping out at just 24 degrees. Not a bad day out on the water at U Beauty. It's been a while since we've had light winds on the weekend. Southeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas below 1 metre. And for the city tomorrow, just a possible shower or two, heading for a top of 25, dropping down tonight to a pretty comfortable 17. And then as we look ahead, a light shower or two possible for our Sunday. Could see up to 10 millimetres in the gauge on Monday though, on a top of 26. For Ipswich, a partly cloudy day on the way tomorrow, a top of 27. Possible shower for Sunday and 28 degrees, and up to 15 millimetres possible for Monday. Here on the Gold Coast, a shower or two possible tomorrow, again on Sunday with a top of 25 degrees. Shower or two for Monday as well. And for the sunny coast, a pretty similar outlook. A shower or two for tomorrow, partly cloudy for Sunday though, and a top of 26. Let's have a look at the beaches for tomorrow. Well, you wanted to be up super early this morning to get the best of the conditions down here on the coast. We woke to light southwesterly winds, so fun small waves on those open beaches up around the 1 to 3 foot mark. And then in the afternoon, it was the points that were firing up. Very similar conditions heading our way for tomorrow. Here's the plan of attack. We'll see that swell drop slightly around 1 to 2 foot, but the open beaches early, and then the points on the afternoon once those southeasterly winds really kick in. For a day down the beach, again, morning will be best. That water temp's beautiful, up around 21 degrees at the moment. And offshore for the boaties, super early if you want to sneak outside. Keely Rose Charters braining them this morning out of Rainbow Beach, and Ross McGubbin from Lucky Strike Charters on the Gold Coast getting a quality haul of whiting. Great stuff. There you have it, guys. A busy weekend on the way for our entire state, and some pretty decent weather here in the southeast and for the majority of the state to get out and enjoy it. Have fun.
Thanks, Luke. And that's 9 News Queensland for this evening. Deborah Knight is next with the current affair, and we hope you can join us tomorrow for our coverage of the Queensland election, starting from 6 o'clock with Weekend Today, ahead of our special program from 5 p.m.
We will be bringing you real-time updates throughout the night alongside an expert panel until we have a result. Until then, good night.
Good night.